This is a Foxier Explorer 7 screen. Don't go try to buy it because I don't think you can buy it anymore. And I like it a lot. I love the fact that when I'm at the field, I can just hand this to somebody who's walked up. You know, they're curious about what we're doing, and I can just put this right in their hands. Here you go. And they can hold it, they can look at it, they can see the FPV. A lot of people who see us flying don't realize that there is an FPV component and really get their minds blown. It's a very nice little screen. It's got a DVR function built in, and it has other uses too, and that's actually what I'm here to talk to you about. If you get one of these screens, if you either decide to use a screen like this as your primary FPV monitor, which some people do, or if you have one of these as a spectator monitor, which if you have goggles, I would highly recommend. If you want to do something good for the hobby, spend $100 on one of these for spectators. It will have so many other uses as well. For example, if you get one, definitely get one with a video input on the back and an HDMI input on the back. Now the video input is going to be pretty standard, right? The HDMI input, you're going to pay a little bit more for one that has an HDMI input, but it's very worth it. For example, let's say you got to set the focus on one of these. Look at this. This is an HDMI cable, and this is a little HDMI to mini HDMI, or maybe micro HDMI. I don't know. There's a bunch of different sizes of HDMI. It's a little adapter. It goes in here, and we'll turn this camera on, and then put this here, and turn this on, and it's got HDMI in. Ta-da! Hello! Hello there! Right? Now, you can frame your shot. You can adjust your focus if you've replaced your lens or something and you need to adjust your focus. Or if you're doing live shooting, you can actually use this monitor to frame live shots. So that instead of, bouncy jouncy cam, like, oh, here I am, right? You could use it like a real camera. Oh, film school, right? Right? So many uses for this. I'll tell you another use for it. What have I got here? Here's an HS1177 camera. Here's a 3S battery with a handy dandy adapter on it. We're going to plug that in here. This video output to video input. And we'll change the input here to video. Okay, great. And we're going to plug in our camera. Right, so if you're trying... Oh, this is going to be a real hassle. Am I doing it upside down? I got it. So now, when you're doing a build and you're setting up this camera and you need to adjust the menu options, right? Or you need to adjust the brightness or darkness or the OSD. You need to set the title so you got your awesome name on there. Any of that stuff, it's so much easier to do. Maybe you're working on your OSD, you're working on your ROSD, and you need to adjust the voltage calibration or something like that. So much easier to do when you're working with one of these screens than when you're having to put your goggles on and off constantly. So I feel like one of these screens, it just definitely shouldn't be the first thing you buy when you get into the hobby. But as you start collecting more and more of the things in the hobby that you need, and then you start finding other things to buy, right? Extra things. I think one of these screens is really worth your consideration. It's fantastic to be able to hand it to a spectator and be a good ambassador for the hobby and get people excited about FPV. And the more excited people are about FPV, if you're that cool guy in the park who flies FPV, who's always happy to see you and let you watch and let you ride along, give the kids a ride along, fly way high up in the sky and look out at the mountains or the lake, give them a run through the trees, that is what people will think of when they hear bad stories on the news about drones and, provide a little positive publicity. So for that reason alone, this is very good to have. I oftentimes will just put this on a tripod while I'm flying. If I'm flying by myself somewhere, I'll just set it next to me on a tripod while I'm flying and turn it on. And that way when I'm under the goggles and somebody wanders up, they can see what I'm doing and start to get interested. That's all for now. Happy flying.